lovely loomers, it is me, Loves to Loom here. Today I'm going to be showing you how to create my intertwined bracelet. I made this on the rainbow loom, and it does take about 150 bands according to the size that I made. Now the bracelet that I have on right here, they're actually all the same sizes, but this one here is a little bit smaller than what I normally make. I usually do about 7 inches. This is a little shy of that. I was able to stretch it and make it fit okay. But again, it is a little smaller than 7 inches, so you may need to go bigger according to your wrist size. So I have a bunch of different versions here. I hope you guys like it. And without further ado, let's get started. To make this bracelet, you will want to have at least 2 looms. You want to have them with the arrows facing away from you in a staggered position. I have mine one set up in front of the other. So 2 connected back to back. If you think you're going to need a bigger size than what I showed you, you may want to add a 3rd loom. If you only have 1 loom, you can make it, but you will need some type of an extension. So to get started, figure out whatever band you want for the border here, and also what color you want where this silver is in the center. So I'm going to use blue for where my pink is, and I'm going to use gray for where my silver is. So I'm going to grab one of my blue bands, and this is going to be for when we close it at the end. We're just going to sit it right on the center pin and leave it for now. We're going to grab 2 more of that color, and we're just going to go out to the left and to the right, like so. We're going to switch our colors to the second color that you chose. Starting on these pins here, we're going to bring it diagonally to this first center pin here. I always start on the left and then bring it in like so. Now we also have to do that again, but stretch it up to this pin here. So we're still on these 2 pins here. We're going to stretch it from here to the center, but we're going to go and stretch it diagonally up 1 more pin. Do the same to the right side, like so. That is the only time we're going to lay the short diagonal band. We just have to do that for closing it up. So push that down some. Now, all the way up, we're going to alternate our border band on the side and then a diagonal band with our gray. So I'm going to grab my border band. I'm going to lay it forward and forward. I'm going to go back to my gray. Starting at the top where our border band ends, I'm going to stretch it up to the center like so. So it's a long diagonal stretch that we're making. I'm going to go back to my border, lay that forward. I'm going to go back to my gray, stretch that up diagonally to the center, and now my forward border bands. As you can see, we're just going to keep alternating. The only problem with using these pretty bands, they're a little tougher to work with. They get kind of stuck on the pins as you're laying them. Starting to regret my decision using these bands. I should have used something a little easier. That's okay. So I'm just going to kind of speed through this part a little bit. And when I get closer to the end, I will come back on so we can get caught up together. Alrighty, so I made it pretty much to the end of my loom, and I want to show you where we are at. So the last band that I laid is my forward border band, and this is the very end. I do not have a long diagonal band stretched there, which you normally would do next, but we do not want those bands on the very last row. And so we're going to just lay another border band forward, and then we're going to bring it in to the center. Like so. So again, there should not be a long diagonal band on the very last section. Okay? So we're going to come back to the beginning. I would push everything down so you have room for your next set of bands. And we're going to lay, oops, wrong one, sorry. We're going to lay the black band that's in here now. And I'm going to actually stick with the same color black. So this is very easy. We're just going to stretch a horizontal band across these pins here, starting on the very first row. Like so. Come up to the next row and stretch it across. Very simple. These are I believe they're the Cindrilic black bands on rainbowloom.com if you're interested. They're like the rounded ones. They don't have a whole lot of stretch, but I really like them. So as I said, we're going to do this all the way down. Well, that's not a good one, is it? Now we are not going to lay it on the very, very last row. Same with the diagonal bands. We want to leave the very last row without one. So I'll show you when we get there. So here's the top of the loom. Do not lay one across that row there. You want to stop the row before. So if your loom looks like this, then you are caught up. Push them down, come back to the beginning. So the next bands that we're going to lay are the white ones in here. And I'll show you another example just in case. It is the yellow on this one. So I'm going to stick pretty much the same color pattern I did on this one, and I'm going to use white. And again, this is very easy as well. We are going to make a single chain running down the center. So I'm using these white Cindrilic bands. We're just going to make a single chain running up the center. Just as before, in case you get ahead of me, we are not going to lay this on the very last row. And I know it's going to look strange because we're used to having it connect to that last pin, but we're going to leave a space and you'll see why later. We're getting a bad thunderstorm, so if you hear any thunder, I'm sorry. So like I just mentioned, we are going to stop one shy of the end. Do not connect it to that pin there. Now we do have to come back to the beginning because we're done laying bands, but there's something I forgot to do in the beginning here. So this black horizontal band on the very last pin here, or first pin, I need you to get your hook and just take it off. like so. Because we don't want it under this white forward band. We want this first one on top. So do that with your hook to release it, and then just place it back on so that it's sitting on top like that. All of the other ones should be underneath, except for this one, it should be on top. So once you've done that, your loom should look like this, and we're going to actually turn it around so the arrows are now facing us. So now we are going to start the looping process. We do not want to add a cap band on here just yet. I'll let you know when we need to do that. So we're going to be using our hook, and we're going to be looping these black horizontal bands. Let me just fix my camera really fast. So we are going to come up to the first row that has that horizontal band. We're going to go inside the center single chain that we have here. So go inside like this, grab the back part of the band, and you're just going to pull it forward like this to the pin in front of it. Now this first one isn't locked in, and that's okay. So the top band might pop back over like mine just did. That's fine. We're going to come up to the next row, go in the center, grab the back part of that band, bring it forward like so. As you can see from now on, it locks it in, so it won't pop up like that one did. Coming up to the next row, grabbing the back part of that, bringing it forward. Just make sure you're going inside of here to grab the band. We're just going to keep pulling that part of the band forward. I went to film last week, and I broke the top of my tripod. So then I had to order a new one. So I waited for that to get in. And then my lighting just wasn't working. So then I ordered new lighting. So now I have different lighting. And hopefully it's okay. I think I like it better than what I had before. It used to really have a strong glare. Can you guys notice the difference? I'm like so nervous that it's not clear. I don't want it to look fuzzy. So let me know if you can tell a difference, if you think it looks better, too bright, too dark, because I've been messing with it like all day long, and I'm like, I think it's fine, but I don't know. I've been staring at the light so long, I don't even know anymore. So let me know your thoughts down below if you don't mind. Okay, so I'm down at the last one here. This is the band that we fixed at the end. You're just going to do the same thing that we've been doing. Just grab the back part of it and pull it forward like that. So I'm coming back to the beginning now, because we are going to be looping the white single chain bands that's on the very center. We're going to be actually looping the back part of the band down, and we're going to do that on each pin. Excuse me. There is two ways that we can do this. The first way is you're going to go in this pin here, so you don't want to be looping from the front. We're going to go in the back part. Put your hook straight down. Let's see if I can get a better angle here. Put your hook straight down into the pin, and you don't want to go too far down, because you don't want to accidentally grab these gray ones. Just slightly put it in and scoop your hook around the side of it, and it will automatically grab that band that you need, and then you're just going to pull it down like so. So again, and then we're not going to go to this pin, we're going to go to the next one. Put your hook in gently and just swoosh it around the back of the pin, and it kind of does the work for you. Now if you find that difficult or tricky, you can come from behind the pin, and you're just going to have to move these bands right here out of the way so that you can, whoops, so that you can grab it and pull it down like so. So it's whatever you prefer and what's the easiest, but the main goal is getting this band here looped down like so. Once you hook the band down, you're going to always skip the pin behind it and go to the next one up, because remember, we're looping the back part of the band and not the front. I definitely think this little scooping motion is the easiest way, but you just got to make sure you don't go too far down, because then you'll grab those gray bands or those diagonal bands, and we don't want to do that. So we're just going to keep doing this until you have reached the top. And I'll show you the very last one. You just literally grab the band and pull it straight down. And as you can see, the last one, there's nothing holding this top band on. So just be very careful when you grab it and just sit it down like so. Just push it down as soon as you do it so it doesn't pop off. So we're actually going to stay at the top of the loom here, because now we're going to start looping the diagonal bands that we laid. And we're going to do it one section at a time, because we're going to loop these diagonal bands, and then we're going to be looping part of the white band as well. So starting on this center one here, we're going to move the two top bands out of the way, which will be the entire white band. Once you move those two out of the way, you have to grab the top diagonal band, which should be the one facing to the left, and you're going to bring it forward and connect it. So that band was the diagonal band connecting there, and we put it forward. Now we need to get the one that was laying this way. So go back in, grab that diagonal band, and bring it forward. Unfortunately, you cannot grab them at the same time. It just does not work for this design. So once you bring that forward, we're now on this pin. There's two white bands here. You have to make sure you're grabbing the bottom band going through this little opening right here. It's not very big. Going through that opening, you're going to grab the bottom white band, and you can tell it's the correct one because you can see that it's connected here as well. So you're going to carefully wiggle it up and over the pin and then release it. And it should make that little design. So I know it is a little tricky. I personally had a lot of fun making this design and doing this part, but I know it is tricky at first. So now this is the pin we're on, and we're going to do that whole thing all over again. So we're going to go in this pin. You're going to push back all the top bands, and I believe there are 3. Yes, there are 3 bands that you have to move out of the way. You're going to reach down in there. You're going to grab the top band, which is the diagonal band connecting from here to here. You're going to sweep it to the left and then bring it forward and connect it like so. Go back in that pin so you can now grab the diagonal band that was for this side. Swoop that forward like so. We're now going to lift the bottom of that white band up and over. sometimes they are crammed together, so it's very important that it's this band, the bottom one. You can get a better angle like this. So let's see. See how when I pull that down, you can clearly see which one's the bottom one? Grab it with your hook, and you're going to bring it up. Now, sometimes when you go to bring that up, the black band starts to pull up with it. That's okay. Just wiggle it up and over, and then push it back down once you have it hooked. So we're going to keep alternating and doing that. So this is the pin that we're still on. Let me back up just a little. We're going to now do the diagonal bands again. So go in, move the bands out of the way, reach down, grab the top diagonal band, bring it forward, go back in and grab the next one, and bring that forward. We're now going to loop that white band up and over. So I'm going to go in this little hole right here with my hook. I'm going to grab the bottom part of that white band. I'm going to bring it up. See how that kind of popped up? No problem. I'm just going to push it back down. This is where we left off, so we're going to go in, move the bands on top out of the way so we can get our diagonal bands. It will always be the left side first. If you laid them in the same way that I did, it will always be the left side coming first, and then when you go back in, it will be the right side. So we connected it. Now we need to loop the bottom band on this pin. Well, the bottom white band, of course. And I love how it makes that little shape in there once you do that. So we're going to keep alternating that. Just take your time. It is very tight in there. After you pull your diagonal down, you're going to scoop the bottom part of that band and bring it up. Sometimes I feel like I have such a hard time like explaining or trying to explain what I mean. So hopefully by just seeing me do it, you know what I'm talking about. Because sometimes I feel like I'm over explaining and you know what I mean. Sometimes it's just easier to look and follow along. So we're just going to keep repeating and alternating like we're doing all the way down. going to go off camera just for a minute to get down to the end or the beginning. And when I get there, I'll come back and show you what we're going to do next. Okay, so now that I'm down, this is the last one that I completed. I wanted to get back on camera and do this last one with you. So I'm going to do my diagonal bands like we've been doing and pull that forward here. And for this one, it's not going to make that same design. You're still only going to grab that bottom band and bring it up. But it's not going to look like the rest of them because it's not locked in there. So I just didn't want you to be concerned there. So that's what that one will look like. And then once you do that, you're going to go in this pin. You're going to have to push back 4 bands on this one to grab your diagonal ones. And you're just going to connect that to the very front pin here. Like so. So I know it may look a little strange, but that is how it should look. And once you do that, that's actually when we're going to grab our cap band. And if you're not caught up, don't rush. Just hit the pause button. Meet me back here. And when you're ready, grab your cap band. We're going to loop it on this front center pin. We're going to wrap it around 2 times. Like so. And now the only thing we have left to do is loop up the borders, which is very easy. So we're just going to go in the center cap band. You're going to push back the top 3 bands or whatever layers are on top of your border bands. We're going to grab this one here. Bring it to itself. Bring the right one to itself. And we're just going to go up the side. So I'm going to start with the right side. And we're just going to loop the borders as normal. Going forward. Just push back any band that is in the way on that pin. Grab the bottom border band and loop it forward. I meant to apologize ahead of time for sounding so raspy. It's so early in the morning, and I just had time to film, so I was like, let me get it done, out of the way, even though I sound a little bit raspy, but that's okay. Summer is almost over. I know all the moms are excited, but I'm not so sure the kids are. I know my kids have been driving me bananas. I can hear one running up the steps right now. Oh, here he comes. So you're going to do this until you reach the top of the loom. I'm trying to hurry because my little one he's 6, but he's like ready for mom to play, so. All right, so bring that in, and then we'll come back to the beginning, and we're going to do the same exact thing on the left side. And we're going to loop this all the way up as well. Now for this design, for any of you who get this looped up quickly and go to just rip it off of the loom, I know it's a skinny design, but you do not want to pull this one off of the loom. And I do say that a lot with specific designs, but I really mean it with this design. It messes up the design if you just pull it off. So please take your time and use your hook. Start at the bottom of the loom and just release it section by section. It keeps it in the best condition if you do that. So I'm just going to get this side looped up really quick and I'll be right back. Okay, so now that it's all looped up, make sure you brought it in like so. We can close it up. So we're going to grab this loose band that we laid at the beginning. push your hook through, grab it like so, and then bring the two ends together. So we're going to attach our C-clip onto that, like so. And now we can remove it from the loom. Now, I actually like to do it from the bottom. I always release the top because I'm scared it's going to pop off. But to remove it from the loom, come down to the beginning with your hook. Like I was saying earlier, take your time, use your hook, and just slowly do one section at a time. Alrighty, so I just put it off the loom. You might want to give it a nice stretch. Locate your C-clip. And you have a cap band on the other side. Just going to bring those two together. Like so. And that is it. And there you have my completed intertwined bracelet. I hope you guys enjoyed this design. If you did, please hit the like button down below. I would greatly appreciate it. If you make this design, you can find me on Instagram under Loves to Loom. You can tag me so I can see all of your renditions. And if you want to see any of my future videos, please hit the subscription button down below as well. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all at my next video. Bye!